last week we talked from the subject of all in, and we talked from Joshua 24, if you turn there, Joshua 24 and chapter 24, verse 15. And we talked about Joshua had given God's resume of here's what he's done for you, and here's everything that he went down the whole line of things in that first verse through the 14th. And he just kind of laid out, let me give you God's resume. And and I challenge us, even when you think back in your own life of what God has done for you and what things God has proven to you time and time again, Joshua was kind of laying out the groundwork to let people see this is what God has done for you. God has proven time and time again what? That he is all in. When he brought your father Abraham out of Ur, when he brought him into a land that he said, I swear I'm going to bless you. I'm going to bring you to a land flowing with milk and honey. I'm going to bring you into the land of Canaan that your family, your seed is going to be able to inhabit. God said, I'm all in. And then Jacob says, okay, Joshua says, okay, now that God has proven time and time again that he's all in, now where's your part? And Joshua said, as for me and my house, we're going to do what? We're going to serve the Lord. So that can mean not only him and his house, because his house is the house of the Holy Spirit, but for those that he's in charge of, for those that he have authority over. As for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord. I don't know what they did back then. I don't know what they're doing on that side of the river. I don't know what they're doing across the street. But as for me and my house, we serve God. I don't know what kids do over there, how disrespectful they may be over there, how they may talk to their parents, how they may do stuff over there. But for me in this house, we're going to serve the Lord. My mother would tell us that all the time. I don't care if your friends jump off the bridge. But over here, children have chores.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Every parent should have hollered and high-fived. Yes, children have chores.
Yes, sir. Man.
You got to pay for your keeper. And so what Joshua was telling the children of Israel, I don't care what y'all did on the other side of the flood in Egypt before you came over into this land. I don't even care what the people whose land we've taken from, I don't even care what they've done. But as for me and my house, we're going to serve God. We ain't serving no idol gods. I'm not serving my job. I'm not serving my money. I'm not serving my pocketbook. I'm not serving the vehicle I drive. I'm not even serving my wife. But I'm serving who? I'm serving God. I'm going to honor my wife, but I'm serving God. We're not serving money. The Bible does say money answers all things, but I'm not serving it. Paul said, I've learned how to be a base, and I've learned how to be bound. I've learned how to have more, and I've learned how to have lack. But in all things, he said, I'm going to be constant, and I'm going to be content in whatever state I'm in. Why? Because none of that stuff is my God. Lord, when I get this six-figure job, I promise you, I'm going to give all my time and talent and everything. God has said, don't give it to me. If you can't serve me in the small things, don't try to serve me with the big things. Do you not understand $1 million, what a tenth of that is? If you're struggling with $100, Lord, when you start writing that check, be like, tenth of $1 million. God, we're going to cut that in fourths. Are we ready to serve God with our all? So Joshua 24:15, are we there? And then also get first, put a pencil pen or your thumb or something there and get 1 Corinthians 12, chapter 12. 1 Corinthians chapter 12. So we want to progress. So we talked about being all in with God last week. Okay, so now we're saved, basically. Now I'm a Christian. Now what do I do? So Joshua 24 and 15, and we just asked that we would stand. Give y'all some exercise. And then 1 Corinthians 12, verses 12 through 14 and 19. Are we at Joshua 24?
Amen.
All right. And it's coming out of the ESV Bible. And it says, and if it is evil in your eyes to serve the Lord, choose this day whom you will serve.
Yes, Lord.
Whether the gods of our fathers served in the region beyond the river, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. And then he says, but, which negates everything that he said before. He said, but as for me and my house, my clan, my community. Can we even think community? My city. We will serve the Lord. 1 Corinthians 12. Verse 12 through 14 and verse 19. When you got it, say amen.
Amen.
Verse 12 says, for just as the body is one, and has many what? Members. And all the members of the body, though many, are what? One body. So it is with Christ. Verse 13, for in one spirit we were all baptized into what? This one body. And all the members of, for in one spirit we were all baptized into one body. Jews or Greeks, slaves or free, and all were made to drink of what? One spirit. Verse 14, for the body does not consist of one member, but many.
Amen.
Skip down to verse 19. If all were a single member, where would the body be? If the body just consisted of Jeff, then we're in trouble. If the body just consisted of your part, then woe unto the body. And I want to read that verse 19 out of the Message Bible. It says, but I also want you to think about how this keeps your significance from getting blown up into yourself and into self-importance. For no matter how significant you are, it is only because of what you are a part of. No matter how significant you may be, or you may think you are.
Come on.
Wanda said it in the Bible study. It really is not about me.
That's right.
It really is all about God.
That's right.
Hold up your Bibles and repeat our confession of faith. I believe.
I believe.
Therefore I receive.
Therefore I receive.
With the intent to obey.
With the intent to obey.
The engrafted.
The engrafted.
Immutable.
Immutable.
And infallible.
And infallible.
Word of God.
Word of God.
In every aspect of my life.
In every aspect of my life.
Today.
Today.
You may be seated. You may be seated. I want to leave with us a topic. I want to talk about all in. Get in the system. All in. Get in the system. If you're checking in on Facebook, it'll be hashtag connected. Hashtag connected. And then another hashtag will be you in or not. Hashtag connected. And then hashtag you in or not.
Yeah.
Ain't that who got that song about? What's the rapper? Y'all don't leave me out there by myself. You got a song, is we doing this or not? You rolling, you riding or not? Y'all don't let me out there.
Go on in here. Yeah.
Hashtag connected and hashtag you in or not. So when I talk about getting the system, I want to talk about there's all kinds of systems that are at work. There's all kinds of systems that we are a part of. Or we can use a system for another word of all kinds of groups or cultures or communities that we can be a part of. For instance, there's, if you go on Facebook, sometimes they may have like a parents group, or they may have single mothers group, or they may have single fathers communities. But in the world that we live in, you can find any community to be a part of, right? Even for those that may have sick minds. Somehow, pedophiles hook up with pedophiles. Somehow, people that are into bestiality, somehow they got communities for that. Seriously, that's real. Because Freddie ain't the only one doing it. Freddie done hooked up with folks all over the world that love little boys or little girls under the age of 18. And so no matter what you do or no matter what your cause is, you can always find somebody to connect with. I got a cause to paint every White House black, and you'll find 100 people that sign up for it. And a lot of times people sign on to things that don't even know the ins and outs of it. They don't even know what they're signing up for. Hey, just sign here. We're going to go to the city council, and what we're going to ask is for reparations for all people that want to worship animals. Like, wait, okay, I'm with you. And then you start reading the fine print and like, wait a minute. Worshiping animals? Yeah, man, we got your name down here. So for whatever thing that you want to do, or whatever thing that your sick mind or your fantasy mind can come up with, I promise you there's a community for it. And so when we talk about being all in, being a part of a system, the kingdom of heaven has its own system. The kingdom of God has its own set of beliefs, and set of morals, and set of values, and set of things that we do that is contrary to the world. Right. So when we talk about system, we have the railroad system, we have transportation system, we have the prison system. That's a big business. And anybody ever that has ever been into the prison system, all they got to do is say one word: yeah, I'm in the system. And we automatically know what that means. CPS has a system. Child Protective Services, I promise you, you get in the system with them, it's going to be hard to get out. And the thing about systems is that once you're in, it's kind of really hard to get out. Once you've been convicted of something in reference to on your record, it's hard when you get out and you have been redeemed and you have been restored. It's hard to find a job when you've been in that system. Because what the world is saying is that, well, if you've been in that system, then you have been systemized and now you have been institutionalized to where now you think like that. So even though you have served your time, we still look at people and say, oh, yeah, heart should have died, heart should click the purses. Let somebody come around you and say, yeah, I went to jail for stealing. I guarantee you're going to start with my wallet at. Making sure folks come to your house and you know that they thieves. Well, you tell them, have a seat right there. And you make sure you don't put nothing around them or leave nothing out for them to think about trying to take it. Next thing you know, you come in back in the living room, they done took your couch. You go to the restroom, come back 5 minutes, your whole living room is gone. Like, wait a minute, I ain't been gone for 5 minutes. But it's hard once people get in the system. It's hard to get out. We have the solar system, in which our sun and the planets that revolve around it are considered the solar system. We have the ecosystem, right? Mm-hmm. Basically, it's kind of the circle of life. So in the system, something almost has to die for something else to live. Mm-hmm. Anybody remember watching The Lion King? Mm-hmm. and one of the songs in the circle of life. So what eats the plants? So you have animals that eat plants. And then when they die, guess what? Even though it may smell and even though it may reek, but guess what? Their body now becomes nutrients for the plants and the grass. And it also becomes food for what? The mean lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. So in the system, I want you to get in the system, there's always things dying and there's always things living. There's always things coming and there's always things going. We call that a flow. So when we're talking about being all in and being all into the system, I want you to get a picture of your body in the physical. You know how in biology they would have that picture of the man, you know, or a picture of a body. So I want us to get a picture of a body because our bodies internally have what systems? We have the respiratory system. I guarantee you stop breathing. You stop air intake. Baby, you're going to be gasping for air. So we have our respiratory system. We have our muscular system. We have our circulatory system. And that deals with our blood and our veins and our arteries that carry blood throughout the body. So when people say, really, you are what you eat, you really are. Because everything that you digest in your digestive system, you want that stuff to go throughout your body because your body thrives off of it. So if your body is used to fatty foods and oil, guess what? You have an oily system. Just oozing oil. And I ain't talking about the blessed oil. But when we think about the body and think about the circulatory system, it is the bloodstream. The adjective is the blood brings and sends nutrients throughout your whole body. Through the arteries, the veins, and the capillaries. Cut off one of your veins or cut yourself. It's going to stop the blood flow from going to where it needs to go and where it needs to be. So can I get 2 volunteers? 2 volunteers. Y'all look so happy. Come on. In the military, they say, don't. You better be the first volunteer because then they'll overlook you and get to somebody else. Y'all come up here. Stand right here and face them. When I talk about systems and the circulatory system, the blood has to flow, but the blood can't flow when something's clogged.
That's right.
Right?
Right.
And if something is clogged in the blood flow and it gets behind, then guess what? When those floodgates open, it shoots too much blood through your stream. Right? So it has to be a consistent flow. So I'm going to have you guys hold kind of interlock. Yeah. Act like y'all love each other. Y'all sisters. So hold your hand out on this and hold your hand out. Okay. So I'm giving you a picture of the body. This is the body. So we're going to act like this is the head. So blood is flowing. So blood can flow through here. And then it goes through here. But because they're connected, then blood is going to automatically keep flowing. And then, boom, it goes through here. So if somebody else was connected, it'll keep going. But hey, unlock. So say, for instance, blood comes through here. Well, something caused a disconnect. Or somebody or something. So now blood flowing through here. Well, now this part of the body is not getting the blood. Or the nutrients. Or the oxygen. Or the things that it needs. So all of a sudden now, this part start dying. Why? Because there's no flow to it. It's now disconnected from the system. Because once what's connected caused a steady blood flow to where everybody was getting all the things that they needed. All the nutrients, all the ingredients, all the protein, all the amino acids, everything was going through both parts of the body. Why? Because there was a steady flow and there was a connection. But once they get disconnected, then now this part starts getting bigger and mature and more wisdom, more understanding. That's why in the church you have people that's been in the church 30 years, but they disconnected. And you wonder how in the world can you be in the church 30 years and you still on milk? Because it wasn't that whatever reason there was a disconnect, for whatever reason, we use anything to cause us to separate from the blood flow.
Right.
Thank you, ladies. We use anything to bring separation from the blood flow, and who does it hurt? It hurts you. Because I have now separated or severed myself from the system because I'm mad because they stole my seat. I'm mad because the pastor didn't ask me to sing the solo. I'm mad because when they prayed, and they was praying for everybody else's mother, but they didn't pray for mine. I'm mad because every time they have an offering, they talk about tithes and offering and giving and all of that stuff and building fund and all of that stuff. And I don't want to give. And I'm mad, and the next thing you know, you're so far removed from the system that you don't have a way to even get connected. You don't even know, because it's happened gradually. You don't even know where it got severed. Anybody ever been mad at somebody and then years later you're like, why are we even mad at one another? What are we arguing about? And what I'm talking about, being all into the system means I'm connected regardless and no matter what. Because I understand that in order for things to flow through me and to me, I have to be what? Connected. Right. I can't be disconnected and think that it's going to flow to me. It kills me and it baffles me when people say I can be saved and still not go to church. That's like me saying I can be married and not come home. Right?
Right. Yes, sir.
I'm married. I got my ring on, don't I? Y'all see us at church?
Yeah.
We lovey-dovey, but I live at somewhere else. And we have a lot of Christians who have said, I'm a Christian, but I don't have to connect with the body. I can do my own thing. I pray by myself. You're supposed to. I don't need to worship in a physical building because I'm the church. You're right. You are the church. But look at what happens. If Christ is the head of the church, right? And the Bible says that we're his bride, we're the body, then he associates it with a marriage, correct?
Yes.
How can I remain married and never connect with my wife? Physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, or spiritually.
That's right.
How can I remain connected when there's nothing to connect us? I serve the Lord and he heard my cries and God is the body and God is the head and I'm a part of the body, but I don't like the arm. Huh? I don't want to connect with the fingers. I don't want to connect with the toes because I feel, well, I'm too big and I'm better than the toes or the ankles.
That's right. You're saying something real right there.
But Paul says in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, he said there are many members, but one what? He associates that with the physical body. So in the circulatory system, there's all kinds of veins and capillaries and arteries. All kinds. But all of them have one job to do, and that's to transport blood throughout the whole body. And if one part of your body doesn't get blood, guess what happens to that part? I can't hear you.
It dies.
So then why do we think that we can come into the kingdom, right? Last week we talked about all in with God, right?
Right.
So I'm all in with God. Oh yeah, I'm on fire. I'm with God. But then I don't want to connect with the body.
Yes.
I'm all in with God. I don't need nobody else. It's me and God. That's all it is. We can walk through this. And yeah, you're right. But how can I please God if I'm not connected to the things that God's connected to?
That's right.
That's just like me inviting you over and telling you can't bring your kids. Now, Shania, we love you and Marquise. Don't you ever bring them two girls. I promise you, Shania and Marquise will probably cuss us out and be like, if you don't want me, you don't want what pertains to me. So then why do we think that we can do God like that?
That's right.
We pick and choose.
You sure right?
Yes, sir, we do.
God, I'll come to, I'll be a part of prayer, but I ain't gonna be a part of worship. I'll be a part of worship, but I ain't gonna be a part of offering. I'll be a part of offering, but I ain't gonna be a part of the word. It's all part of his body, right? We all have our part to play. So guess what? If we're moving late, if one of them is out of sync, guess what? It throws the whole body off. Break your leg or break your arm. Then now all of the parts of your body have to overcompensate for what? The missing part. The reason why we're frustrated, the reason why we're tired, the reason why we're burnt out is because those that's a part of the body won't connect. So that means those that are connected have to overcompensate.
Yes. That's right.
For those, I'm not even talking about the ones that are there, I'm talking about the ones that are part of the body.
Yes, that's right.
Many members, but what? One body. So your contribution really does matter.
Oh, have mercy, God.
What you bring to the table, regardless of what it is, you may be the smallest pinky, but you're important.
That's right. Yes.
Because I guarantee you, you cut your thumb off, you won't be able to grasp things. It'll be hard to try to hold on to stuff. You can do it, but it'll be hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're surviving as a church, we're surviving as a ministry, but it's hard because people are disconnected.
That's right.
Because they're so busy feeling, I don't have to be connected to be connected. And where they do that at? It don't even make sense. And so when we talk about the blood flow, listen, whatever happens to the head happens to the what?
Body.
Yes, sir.
Good or bad, right?
Right.
So if all the good blood is coming from the brain, flowing down, guess what? We're going to get all that same good blood, good energy, good nutrients. And guess what? What happens is when you're not connected, when you're over here, you don't even partake of that. You don't even get any part of that because you have decided, I'm not going to be connected. So your connection is not this, you coming to church. No. Your connection is saying, God, I'm not only am I all into you, but God, I'm all into your body.
That's right.
I'm all into your body. So whatever I have to offer, if I'm the finger, the toe, the nose, the ears, I'm going to do my part and play my part.
That's right. That's right.
Because I realize it's not about me, but it's about the whole. What can I do, God, to make sure that the whole is taken care of? Plug in and do your part. So when Jesus said in John 15, he says, I'm the husband. He said about his father. He was talking about, my father is the husbandman and I'm the vine dresser. He said, those that are plugged in, whatever comes through the veins of that tree, the root system of that tree, guess what? You're a partaker of it. But if you're not connected, you're wondering why you're dry. You're wondering why it seems that you're isolated. It's not because they've isolated you, it's because you've isolated yourself. You've taken your own self out of the equation. I don't have to go to church to be saved. I don't have to partake of them to be saved and to go to bunch of hypocrites in the church. Anybody ever heard that?
Yes. That's the number one.
That's because you in here. Because you wishy-washy.
Yes, wishy-washy.
That's because you don't know whether you want to be in or out. So what happens is because you don't know whether you want to be in or out, you don't see no benefit in being connected. You don't see any fruit from being connected because you're so in and out that you're not even, the blood can't even flow your way because you're not connected. Because you're not connected. When we talk about all in, being in the system, you've got to be connected. Get in the system of God. Whatever happens to the head has to transpire in the body. God can't rain on the head that don't touch the body. I tell people all the time, you being a part of a local, not only do you have, there's twofold, you have obligation to be a part of the universal church, but you also have an obligation to be a part of the local church.
That's real.
Because not only do you bring something to the table universally, but you also bring something to the table to your local congregation. Away with, I'm going to Bedside Baptist. I'm going to church online. Those people ain't getting you ain't connected to them people by no means. And you think that just because you heard a message of T.D. Jakes or you heard a message of whoever online, and I love Bishop Jakes, but that doesn't satisfy you being connected with the body.
That's right. That's right.
It doesn't satisfy you being connected. Because then when you're not connected, guess what? Then you're not held accountable for your part.
Right, right.
Or your contribution. And that's what really is the problem. You don't want to be held accountable.
That's right.
All right, all right.
You want to be able to tip in and tip out. Dip in and dip out. I'm in and I'm here to get the blessing and then I'm gone for 4 or 5 months. And you think that God is really going to allow what's going on the head to flow down to you when you're not connected? You're walking out of order. It's disorder.
Yes.
To think that you are going to go to church online and you think that you're going to be connected to the body when physically you're not connected. You know what, back in the day, a lot of the engineers didn't have to take sociology and things of that nature. Why? Because they were locked up somewhere working numbers. But now, they have to also take sociology and history and geography. Why? Because it brings them to connection with other people. Because no man is an island. I don't care how much you got going on. I don't care how well you can do. I don't care what all you got going on. You cannot make it through this life by yourself. You cannot. I don't need nobody. I'm my family. I don't care. But you can't make it by yourself. You're going to need somebody to link up with you, somebody to connect with, somebody that can hold you accountable. And that's what we don't want. We don't want people in our Kool-Aid. We don't want people to put no demand on the anointing of God in our lives. We want to come in and sit our happy self on the pew and don't give nothing. And then think that God is going to flow through you. The devil is a liar. You will not get any blood flow to your part of the body when you're not connected. So they didn't acknowledge me when I came back. Y'all laughing because it's true. My family put the name on the back of the pews. They didn't acknowledge Big Mama when they had the church anniversary. And you done disconnected yourself to the point to where you really believe your own hype. And you really believe that it's just you against the world, Tupac. And the enemy has you confused and has you bewildered to think that you can love God and not love his people. Come on, y'all.
You better say that again.
How you don't love God's people? Again, that's just like saying you love me and don't love my daughter. Come on, y'all. Them fighting words. Pastor Christian, we accept you, but your wife, you what? Well, you definitely don't want me coming over to dinner. We want you, but I don't know about that Malika. Listen, Christ died for what? The body. So how dare you tell God that what he died for wasn't worth it? When he died for you too. How dare you say, God, I'm not connecting with Jeff because I don't like his attitude. And God is saying, but I guarantee you, for every person that you don't like, there's 10 that don't like you. But I still called you to be what? Connected. In Genesis chapter 2, God said it's not good for man to be what? Alone. So he made us relational. There's benefits not only being a part of the universal body, but there's benefits in part of being a part of the local body. Why? Because anything that happens to that body, you get to have some of it. We don't go up if we go up, that means you go up, right?
Right.
If God bless the gathering church, guess what? Because you're a part of it, guess who's going to get blessed too? You are. So this week, I know the prayer was to pray for your leaders, and I'm not telling you to pray for us because we want this and want that, but what I'm saying is that as God takes your leaders, then the body has to go. If God bless us to come off our jobs and to be full-time pastors in the sense that we're really full-time pastors, guess what? It's trickling on down to you. How they going, yeah, God, I ain't praying for them to get off their job when I want to get off mine. That's your problem. Because in 1 Corinthians 12:19 said, it ain't about you. Understanding that what part I play is really for the whole body and not just for my little arm. So when we talk about being all in, a verse that I want you to get, 1 Corinthians 10:17. And I'll read it. It says, because there is one bread, we who are many are one body, for we all partake of the one bread. If I'm in the body, right, in the physical, 1 Corinthians 10, whatever you take in your mouth, good or bad, the whole body, it affects the whole body, correct? So what Paul is saying in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, he said, whatever comes into your mouth, basically the bread that you eat, everybody gets to benefit from it. So guess what? As the prayer ministry is up here praying, guess who benefits from it? We all do. Because God may lay on their heart to pray for something that I may be going through, that I'm like, God, thank you. Guess what? When we all participate, everybody can't sing, right? I know it said make a joyful noise, but sometimes you just got to make a noise. But guess what? When the worship and the praise team is up here singing, we're worshiping with them. Why? Because they just may sing a song or say something that I needed to hear. You ever been going through something and you get to church or get to somewhere and they play a song that God's been bringing in your heart?
Amen. Yes, sir.
Or somebody get up and say something and they may not even been on the program, but they just may get up and say something that you needed to hear. every person that's a part of the gathering church, you also have a part to play. And God said, I'm obligated to flow through you, to flow to you. I'm also obligated that the veins and arteries reach you too. So when you put yourself in the stream, in the blood flow, I think somebody preached a message, get in the flow. I don't know if it was you or Robert. But get in the flow. Because when I'm out of the flow, nothing hits me. But when I get in the flow of the blood, then everything coming through that stream, it may have started at the head, and I may be way at the bottom of the hill. Yeah. But I promise you, if it's in the bloodstream, it's going to hit me too.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Come out and get in. Are you in or not? That may be it. Are you in or not?
All right, yes.
As this year has started, God, not only do I want to be connected to God, but I want to be connected to his people.
That's right.
Isn't that a picture of the cross?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, sir.
Vertically and horizontally. You can't have a cross with just one.
That's right.
You can't. Stop acting. God is just me and you. As long as I pray to God and God is saying, yeah, but as you pray to me, I'm giving you some things to do for my people. God, you know how they are. You know how you are. And to make matters worse, God knows how you are, but he still allows people to come and give you things that bless you. Even when you're out of the ark of safety. Even when you're not connected, God still said, I'm gonna let some drops fall over here. But wouldn't it be so much better for you to be connected? Put you out there. Come on in. Well, God, I've been hurt. Who hasn't? If you have never been hurt, raise your hand. Anybody? So we're all in the hurt system. And how many people have been hurt by the church? If I can raise. But that shouldn't that is not a license for you to stay away. Yes. It's not. It is not. God is not giving you a license just because you've been hurt by that local church and now you done clumped us all in the same group.
That's right.
And then I like to say, how many times have you hurt somebody? Uh-oh. Huh?
Yeah.
Whether knowingly or unknowingly.
That's right.
How many times have you said something that offended somebody?
That's right. That's right.
Well, Lord, I didn't mean it by that, but that's how they took it. So then, as much as you have asked for forgiveness, then God said, with that same thing, that's how much forgiveness you need to give. Amen. God, I didn't know that I offended that brother. God, I asked that you forgive me, and God is saying, oh, you're asking me for forgiveness, but you won't forgive me.
Forgive and you shall be forgiven. God.
It's just like when and one of the benefits of being a part of a ministry, a local body, is when we roll you up here and lay you out, you don't want somebody to have been connected with you, to rally around your family and rally around your loved ones. And I'm not telling people just become part of any church, but what I'm saying is that become a part of a church where you can be connected. I tell people all the time, and you've heard it, when we was going through, when we lived in Tulsa, had we not had our church family, that cocooned us and rallied around us, I'm telling you, I don't know if we would still be married. Not because I didn't love my wife and not because she didn't love me, but the trauma was real.
Yeah.
And what our local church family did that we were connected to, they even more reinforced their connection.
Okay.
So we became the broken leg, or we became the broken arm, or we became the part of our body that couldn't function. But we were still in the flow. We didn't step out. We stayed there, and that connection, it was like God built some vessels and some arteries and some capillaries around us to pull us in and said, okay, we're going to cocoon you until you're able now to be a part back of the body where you can contribute.
Yes.
That's what being connected does. That's what being a part of not only the universal church, but also the local church does for you. It brings you in and says, no, Sister Wanda, I don't care how much the devil fights you. I don't care how much the devil do. I don't care how bad the devil acts. We're not letting you go.
Yeah.
I don't care how bad it is at home. We are holding you in. We're bringing you in. I don't care how much you have lost. We are going to stand with you. That's what being connected does.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How dare you want something for nothing? How dare you think that your local body, the church, is supposed to be there for your every beck and call, and you don't contribute?
Come on, she said something real.
You don't allow the blood to flow through you, but you want the blood to flow to you.
Come on. Say that again. Say it again.
She said it, I'll say it again. You don't allow the blood to flow through you, but you want the blood to flow to you.
Yes, that's real, Pastor.
You don't want to be a conduit or a vessel, but you want to always be take.
That's it. It's like a leech.
When somebody asks you to do something, I'm busy. I ain't got time. So let something happen in your family.
I go,
Yes, sir.
you're saying
Yes,
something
sir.
real.
Right.
Who the first folks you're going to call? Can I get a witness?
Yeah.
Amen.
And guess what? We ain't got no qualms about it. When God said get on up out of that bed and go and do what you're supposed to do. Because we understand what it means to be connected. It's not just what you can get. It's what you can give. Because guess what? Whenever you give, you automatically get. Whatever you give, the Bible said, don't be deceived. God is not mocked. Whatever you what? Sow, that shall you also reap. So when you're giving, I'm a giver. And God said, even if you don't pray for it tonight, I'm going to give it to you. Because you're in the flow. You're in the flow. Devastate. You're in the flow. You're in the flow. I challenge us. Get connected. Get connected. Get connected. Get connected. When the blood starts flowing, and if you're connected, baby, that blood gonna flow right to you through you. Yes, sir. Could you imagine as you get older? Because if you keep living, you're gonna get old like you.
Pastor. You right behind me.
But as you keep living, you're gonna get older. And think about if you don't have anyone that can come see you. It would be a travesty for you to have lived your life for 70, 80 years
My Lord.
and never connected and to die alone.
My Lord.
It would be a travesty for you to die and nobody know. My dad had been dead for a week and a half and nobody knew. Because he had so much disconnected himself from us and the family that it was normal not to hear from him. Seriously. It was normal for you to call him and he not answer. There were times I went to visit him and I'm sitting there and the phone rings and depending on who it is, he answered. And I'm sitting there like, really? Oh, we're doing this? But he had so disconnected himself that when he died in his house, nobody knew for a week and a half. In the summer of 2009. That when somebody did come over and check on him, the smell, the stench of a dead body was so to where they literally had to take everything out and set it on the curb. And have people come in hazmat. Literally, we had to go in with masks and things on. And I say that to say, don't be gone for a week and a half and nobody even know.
Yes, sir. Yes, yes, Lord.
And nobody, not only do anybody know, but nobody cares.
Right.
I wonder what happened. I wonder what happened to Willow. I know he used to come. And people are, oh yeah, I think he had. Oh, okay. Oh well. But when you're connected, because we're all connected, God may lay on somebody's heart to pray for you. Text Sister Faith and just tell her you was thinking about her. Faith, I'm thinking about you. Because we're in the flow. So when I'm in the flow, whatever comes from the head comes through what? Through us.
Yes.
So I promise you, God will put you on somebody's heart, on somebody's mind, to say, call that brother and just check on me. But when you're disconnected and you've disconnected yourself, 3, 4, 5 months go by and nobody even knows that you're missing. It's a sad thing. It's sad not to be connected. It's sad not to be connected. Every head bowed. You don't have to close your eyes. But I really want us to think. First, am I all in with God? Have I given my all to God? Not to the church, not to the pastor, not to my husband or my wife or my kids. But have I really given my all to God? And if I have, the second thing is, am I all in into the system of God? Am I all in? God, am I really connected? Am I really genuinely concerned with what happens to my brother or my sister? Because I know if it happens to them, it affects the whole body. So if they're missing, God, then we're missing something. There's a disconnect. I know there's things going. I know for me in my house, we may serve the Lord, but God, there may be somebody else's house that's not connected to you. So I don't like that. I don't want anybody disconnected. Because I know if they're disconnected, they're a part of me. And it could be a potential that we not get what we need because of one person being out of sync. If you start really thinking, maybe, and again, it's not pointing the finger, but maybe we're not where we should be as a church because I haven't put my part in. Maybe we're not where we should be as a family unit because I haven't come all the way in. Maybe we're not where we should be as a marriage because I'm married but I'm living alone. I'm in the marriage, but I'm out the marriage. I'm in the relationship, but I'm really kind of haphazardly disconnected. So the second thing, if you're not connected, you're just saying, Pastor, I want to be connected. I do. No longer am I going to be tossed to and fro, but I want that connection. I need that connection with the local body, I'm already connected universally, but I need that local body to be connected with. That iron sharpens iron. I check on you, you check on me. I help raise your kids, you help raise my kids. I help take care of your father when he's in the nursing home, you help take care of my mother when she's sick. It's that give and take. I need that connection. I need it. When you're going through, I'm here to help build you up. When I'm going through, you're here to help encourage me. We're here because we're here for one another. And God, I want to be